here in India, it is shortly after midnight. In fact, it is already the 21st of September of the Gregorian year 2022. Yet, throughout the world, this day, in fact, the 20th of September, is and supposed to be celebrated as International, or I should say as the International Children's Day. Alas, even this very day fell into a mode of tragedy when in my neighboring country some 15 children were killed. Those children who were attending a temple school were shot, not by a terrorist, not by a fanatic, but by the instrumentality of an illegitimate martial regime, which took over by overriding a democratically elected government about a year and a half ago, and has been tyrannizing that same country and its citizens for almost a year and a half uninterruptedly. Children ought to be protected not merely by their parents and their custodians, but also by the defense forces of each and every country. Alas, this has become a very tragic irony on this very day, the 20th of September of the Gregorian year 2022. We, the citizens of the world, are called upon to speak up on behalf of those children, and indeed to speak out on their behalf. It is our duty, a moral one if not a legal one, to protect the legitimate interests of babies and children, the legitimate rights, the legitimate interests, their interests as it is laid down even by the very charter of the United Nations Organization. We must act now, we must act constantly, we must act relentlessly in the genuine interest of the babies and children of the world. I do not know why this video telecasting is being interrupted time and time again, perhaps due to certain technical problems which have arisen. But I need to speak out, and I invite my fellow global citizens to join me in one single voice in speaking out and speaking up, and in speaking out again and again, time and time again, on behalf of those victims. It is our responsibility, it is our moral duty to protect the children of our own countries and communities, but also to protect the children of our fellow global citizens throughout the world, even in global interests. But it is not merely the children of our communities and countries but also those countries, both near and far, which are victimized even by natural catastrophes. Even in my neighboring country, Pakistan, where devastating floods have brought too many children to their lives' end and are also victimizing today by causing not merely terrible distress on the minds of the living children, but also those children which are severely affected by various types of illnesses, including dengue fever, diarrhea, yellow fever, and also various types of illnesses arising from the plague caused by the floods throughout the world. I therefore invite you most humbly, respectfully, and cordially to come forward and help the victims. I am no less patriot than any of my other fellow global citizens. I come from a family of freedom fighters. My late grandfather, who served in the Indian Army during the First World War and was stationed both in England and in France to heal the victims even as a physician, returned to India after the First World War and joined the Indian Congress Independence Movement, headed inter alia by late Dr. Bidhan Chandra Roy, and served his fellow global citizens and also his fellow citizens of his own country throughout his life. But I, as his grandchild, beg you most humbly, implore you most respectfully, and urge you most earnestly to come forward and help even the victims of my neighboring country. We call ourselves Indians. The word India is derived from the Indus Valley civilization. But we can be proud Indians if, but only if, we also try to help the victims of the Indus Valley civilization, who are so severely affected by devastating floods today. I beg you most humbly, implore you most respectfully, and urge you most cordially and most earnestly to come forward and help the victims. And thank you in anticipation for the same. Indeed, for your coming forward and helping the victims. I bid you a very solemn night from my country, India, where it is already the 21st of September of the Gregorian year 2022. My apologies for repeated interruption due to certain technical problems on the internet. Yet my humble prayer to my Creator and Creator of all the victims, even on this very night. Thank you once again and bid you a solemn night.